Welcome to Candid Conversations with Dr. Kelly, where we dive deep into the conversations that matter most to your mind, body, and soul. I'm your host, Dr. Kelly Utenham, a passionate advocate for brain health and wellness. And here on this podcast, we explore candid conversations about life, health, and the stories that shape us. Whether it's about mental health, sports, or simply navigating everyday challenges, we keep it real, raw, and relevant. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Welcome to another episode of Candid Conversations with Dr. Kelly. I am over the moon for this guest. He is dynamic, and if that word doesn't say it enough, if you don't know him in the field, I have the Darius Thomas here. We are going to talk all things candid. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, honored to have you here. I like to let my guests introduce themselves. So will you please tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
Awesome. Well, thanks again for having me here. I am Darius Thomas. I'm the founder and chief executive officer of Dynamic Therapy, as well as Dynamic Experiences, Dynamic Cares, Dynamic Properties. I own 4 companies, 3 LLCs that are for-profits and 1 nonprofit. And I'm originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Howard University, HU, you know, and now I reside in Atlanta, Georgia. And
Okay. Say it again.
I'm now a Georgia Peach.
That's right, Georgia Peach. Yes, I did a short stint in the A right after college, so I know a little bit about it. Now, I am bad at directions, so I couldn't tell you about directions, but I do know about Dunwoody, Peachtree. I'm sure there's way more. I'm not going to embarrass myself, but yes.
You know, the suburbs.
Yes, yes. And I know there's a Peachtree like in downtown, but it
Absolutely.
is like changed and been built up and even more amazing than when I was living there. So
For
I'm looking
sure.
forward to coming back next year for Mbasla
It's going to be a great
2026.
time. I can't wait.
Yes. So you are like Mr. Mbasla. So you have been the treasurer of Mbasla, and then you had the huge role of helping to put on this year's Mbasla out in California. And I hear great things. So could you talk a little bit about that, Mr. Dynamic?
Yes, absolutely. So I've been a member of IMBASLA, the National Black Association for Speech, Language, and Hearing, since 2016. I started off as a student rep, and then I became the PR chair. And then they started to have me to plan the convention. So I've planned 3 or 4 conventions at this point since 2016, and I've been an active treasurer for the association for about 6 years. And now my journey on the board is coming to an end. I am retiring. I'm taking a moment to just rest, relax, and go sit in the park instead of be on board meetings so often. But I will be at the convention next year, and I can't wait.
Okay. So wait, does that mean that you will have no part in like the planning and creation, curation of Mbasla for next year?
It'll be a very minimal part. I will support the great Lauren Prather, Dr. Lauren Prather, on the back end, but no visible roles unless I'm hosting something or presenting at the convention. So I will take part by way of being a presenter.
Okay. I'm like, there's no way you're just gonna completely step away. Like, there's got to be some DT and there's somewhere. Shout out to Dr. LP.
Yes.
We got to spend some wonderful time together in Scottsdale, Arizona this past June for Made for More, put on by the wonderful Ebony Green and put together by your amazing company. So we're going to get into the different things that you do, but one of them, you put on events and have an actual company that puts on events as well as travel. I definitely want to slide into that because I love to travel. But could you talk about the creation of that business and what you do with it?
Absolutely. So I started Dynamic Experiences in 2023. I planned an international trip for one of my friends. It was 23 people. I took them to Guatemala. And the trip was $1,000 a person, but it was all inclusive. We had this huge Airbnb that had over 12 bedrooms. We had staff everywhere, excursions, etc. And once we got back, they said, you need to make this a company. And so I ended up creating the name. All of my businesses start with the word dynamic because I am dynamic. But I ended up creating the name and the logo. I got their approval. I said, what do y'all think about this? I had them to vote on the best logo. And then we started the company. We've been going strong ever since. We planned trips all around the world, from Greece to Africa to Barbados, you name it. We pretty much plan the vacation there. So my company, Dynamic Experiences, we plan date nights. We have a concierge service. We plan events as well as vacations all around the world.
That's amazing. And all stemmed from your brain. If someone wanted to book with you or get in touch with you about this, how would they do that? We're going to give time for, getting in touch and all that. But for people who don't want to wait to the end, how would someone book something like that with you?
We love dynamicexperiences.com. Actually, fun fact for all of my businesses, they all start with we love. So we love dynamictherapy.com, we love dynamicexperiences.com, we love dynamiccares.com because we love dynamic.
Dynamic, we do. Dynamic Darius. And the DT, dynamic therapy, are your initials.
Absolutely. And that's how that was created.
Very creative. I love it. Okay, so we're hopping all over the place with all the things that you do, which I imagine this is how your week and calendar looks with you hopping around for different things that you are either in charge of, curating. Just, I know that your hands are in a lot of different things, but I do want to get back to the therapy piece because that's how you and I are connected because you are a speech language pathologist, as you said. So, could you talk about your journey into speech leading up to the creation of dynamic therapies?
Yep, for sure. So I went to Howard University. I started off in journalism, and I did not have a passion for journalism. So my freshman year, the fall semester, I took those classes. I went on the NABJ tour, the National Association of Black Journalists tour in New York, and I said, wow, this is not for me. This is not where I see myself in 20 years. And so I went back to my advisors in the School of Communications and I said, I need to switch my major. They said, okay, we want you to stay in communications because at that time I was running to be the vice president of my school. They said, we want you to
Naturally.
Yes, of course. Student government was my way of life in undergrad and grad school. But I said, we need to find something else. So they said, go talk to the Communication Sciences and Disorders Department inside the School of Communications. And I went to talk to Dr. Ovita Harris. And she sold me this profession like none other. And I switched my major and I doubted it for the first year. And I said, okay, this is for me. And then I ended up getting my master's at Howard. They paid for it. And here I am now being a speech pathologist, a boss, a CEO, and I love the field. It's been super rewarding, and I'm very grateful for the switch.
Well, I say a win is a win. We have a couple of things in common. So I was a journalism major first as well,
Yes.
but I loved and still love journalism. I graduated like right during that little depression period during 08, 09. And so there were no jobs in journalism. And
Yes.
so I had to pivot. And that's actually what took me to Atlanta. And then I came back and went to grad school and all of that. But that's amazing because I was a member of NABJ and I went to A&T, Aggie Pride. And
Okay. All right.
back then, I don't know if the short course, I don't know if the short course has moved, but I do know that like when I was in school, the NABJ short course was done at A&T every year. So I had that experience, but I'm a little jelly. You went to New York for NABJ? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yes, it was a phenomenal time. There were so many opportunities that Howard presented to me throughout those years while I was there that I'm super grateful for, from studying abroad to internships, etc. So Howard did his thing.
Studying abroad where?
Absolutely. Every single summer, we went to Beijing, China, my freshman year, Barcelona, Spain, my sophomore year, and Oaxaca, Mexico, my junior year. All
Wow.
expenses every year,
Wow. And now you're creating those kinds of experiences for other people,
for
but
sure.
not, necessarily for educational and credits, but for some fun and some turn up.
Absolutely. But we also do community service on many of the trips that I plan. We also try to have a philanthropic component to them.
Wonderful. Okay, so people always see your smiling face. You have this like energy that just emits. And we talked about that a little bit in Arizona, where you were just like out at the table. So I was there as a volunteer and helping people like get checked in and everything. And you were just like standing around and greeting people and doing your thing. And I said, "Are you an extrovert?" And you were like, "I so am. I love this. I want to greet people." And you didn't want to stay inside because nobody was in there yet. So, could you please talk about how you are able to show up with this light and like what that looks like with balancing all that you do and balancing mental health?
A part of it is innate. It's who I am. is passed down through genetics. My mother is very outgoing. She actually has more personality and energy than I do, with a smile that will light up the world. So it kind of was just passed down to me. But outside of that, I am very God-fearing. I spend a lot of time in church, reading, and being the best version of myself. And so, by way of me working on myself and showing up to my fullest potential every single day, people get to see what that looks like outwardly. So I do the inner work. Like last year, I got baptized. I found a new church home. I actively journal. I go to therapy. I go to the gym. Before this session, I was in the gym. Okay, I woke up at 7:30 and I did a 1 hour fitness class, and then I came back home, showered, etc. So I take care of myself. After this podcast today, I'm going to get a haircut and a facial. So I try to spend time doing wellness, which helps me to show up to be the best version of myself.
Fantastic. Well, it is working. Now I feel, is it iron sharpens iron or steel sharpens
Yeah,
steel?
open time.
Okay, yeah. Ebony Green said that to me once, and I was like, that is so true. So, Mr. Iron, you definitely surround yourself with other powerhouses, and other people who are high performing, high achieving. And I think that when people see people like yourself and Ebony, the wonderful Gerald Jackson, and other people who are just constantly like being seen, and not for like this look at me, but like you're just constantly working, constantly pouring into the community and the people around you. Um, what would you say to people who are like, how does he do it all? Or who may be interested in ticking it up and doing a little bit of what you do?
Absolutely. I am extremely goal oriented, and I've been that way since I was in high school. I write out my goals in December of every year to prepare for the next year. Spiritual goals, financial goals, health goals, professional goals, personal goals, my hobbies, etc. And I actively pursue them. If you don't put things down on paper, a lot of times they never seem to come to pass. And so I spend time having an accountability partner, someone that can hold me accountable throughout the year, that can say, hey, how are those financial goals going? For example, I just paid off $100,000 in taxes. By way, yes, amen. By
Clapping,
way,
y'all.
yes, by way of me having accountability partners, as well as putting it down on paper and creating a plan. A lot of times we spend time talking about our problems without any solutions. And so what helps me out is my community that I've built, the people that's around me, and I like to surround myself with people that's going to elevate me and push me forward. An active prayer that I spend time saying is, Lord, remove anyone out of my life that should not be in it and put people in my life that should. And by way of that, I get to surround myself with people that are just as successful and powerful and great as me.
Ooh, amen to that. I like that prayer.
Yes. The
I'm gonna
Sierra
use.
prayer, the Darius prayer.
Ooh, I like that. The dynamic
Ooh, the
prayer.
dynamic prayer. That's good.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so on the opposite side of that, how do you handle behind the scenes challenges that can come up with entrepreneurship? And then how does that take a toll on your mental, and how do you handle that?
Absolutely. I've definitely had my pain points this year. The pastor said as we enter New Year's Eve and the New Year's Day that we were going to have some hills and we were going to have some valleys. And I've experienced the hills and the valleys of 2025. The year, of course, started off very stressful, depending on your political views. And by way of that, we became very anxious and fearful about what the year was going to look like. And as we can see how it's turning out, we're experiencing all the things. But the way I handle it is by prayer, is by realizing that what's going to be is what's going to be, that we're really walking in our purpose and in the path that God has ordained for us. But outside of that, I have people that have experienced similar things or people that I can trust and count on to talk to about the things that I experience. And I know that they're going to be a great listening ear and a great sounding voice.
Are you on the hunt for fun, functional, and diverse therapy materials for both your pediatric and adult clients? Well, let me put you on to something I absolutely love and use in my private practice: Cognishine. If you haven't heard of it yet, Cognishine is a digital platform designed to support speech, language, memory, attention, executive function, and more. It's science-backed, clinically effective, and works beautifully for both teletherapy and in-person sessions. But what really makes Cognishine shine? It's completely customizable. You can tailor exercises to your client's specific needs Whether you're targeting speech sounds, supporting recovery after a concussion, or strengthening cognitive skills post stroke, it's become a game changer in my sessions, and my clients absolutely love it. So, if you're looking for a tool to elevate your therapy, check out Cognishine and tell them Dr. Kelly sent you. I am glad that you brought up the changes and the views and all of that. I'm going to take it slightly to a different space and circle on back to dynamic experiences. I was just watching something that was talking about how travel and international travel are really taking a hit. Apparently, Vegas is supposedly like a ghost town right now.
Mm.
And they were just saying that, American Airlines is seriously taking a hit. Delta Airlines, who is, a leader, and all of the different spaces that are typically a touristy kind of place, they're saying international. So tourists are down in travel. Has that impacted your business?
No, I think there are too many people in the world that actually want to travel. And I think by way of those that are in our orbit, they refer their friends. They maybe have taken a trip with us before. So there's someone that wants to take a vacation. And by way of that, we get to take that clientele in that business because they want a dynamic experience.
Absolutely. Well, good. I'm glad that this is not affecting you. So that
Um,
also means that I'll be able to book with you too.
yes, come on through. We would love to have you.
You all talked about, well, when you were on stage at Made for More, yes, public speaker as well, ladies and gentlemen. When you were on stage at Made for More and you were talking about it, it sounded very doable, and the trips sound amazing. Like,
Absolutely.
like these are not your like we're gonna go to Florida for spring break type of trips. These are elaborate, they are exclusive, they are luxurious, and you like really sell an experience.
Absolutely. Let me give you an example. Let me paint the picture for you.
Please do.
Imagine going on a $2,500 trip to Bali that's all inclusive from food, excursions, a full buyout resort where it's only you and your family and your friends. That's the type of experience that we create, where the housekeepers and the front desk staff know your names and your room numbers because you have the entire resort. We create luxury experiences that are affordable. So that's a 7-day trip for $2,500 to Bali.
$2,500.
Yes.
Is that does that include flight?
No flight included. Absolutely not. Your flight to Bali will be about $1,500 or so.
Okay, but that's still a very affordable and like once in a lifetime trip.
Absolutely. And it's a phenomenal time. Very healing.
Yeah,
Bali
very
brings us
healing.
into the belly, very healing place.
Okay, so that's also a bucket list. Now, we're talking about it. Do you have access to like the overwater bungalows? Because that's like the big bucket list.
Of course.
Really?
Yes, and we would love to make that happen for you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, how long is that flight?
Well, maybe 25 hours.
What do
Yeah.
you do for 25 hours?
Sleep, eat, drink, sleep, eat, drink, sleep, eat, drink on repeat.
Start the vacation early while you're on the way.
Well, when you're on those international flights, they give you free alcohol.
Yes.
And so you just enjoy. Take a
Well,
nap,
yes.
catch up on rest. So when you arrive at 7 o'clock in the morning after you've been sleeping for 14 hours, you wake up, you're there, and you go and you enjoy your vacation.
Okay. Now, when I did Dubai, I did enjoy the free wine, which helped with that,
Good.
sleep, eat, drink cycle. Um, so we're going to pivot on to, I'm thinking rest and relaxation, which is good for injury, brain injury, which is, of course, my forte, my passion. So I want to ask, have you had any experience with concussion, either yourself and your family, or with people that you have worked with in the past, like clients?
No, I have not.
That was a real quick answer. Okay. Um, well, one, I'm glad that you haven't experienced concussion yourself, because your self care and the way that you take care of yourself. So kudos to you for that. But I do know that you operate in the pediatric space, the school space, and I'm interested to hear like how do I want to say this? What experience do you feel you would need to be comfortable working with a kiddo who has had a concussion? Because I'm trying to bridge the gap between the medical SLPs, the school-based SLPs, because it's the kiddos who are getting concussed, but then that shows up like ADHD or ODD, and those symptoms align with those who have a concussion. So when I do talk to my school-based SLPs, they're like, "Oh, like that's medical, and we don't really, do anything with that." And they can. So you coming from the school-based space, what do you think you would need to feel comfortable to work with a kiddo who has had a concussion?
Got it. Understood. Just some insights and background as I was
Please.
forming my answer here. So my company, we have 12 school contracts. And so the first thing I was thinking about was how would I guide my clinicians through one of their cases where a client fell off of the playground and they bumped their head and they got a concussion? How would they support them? We're very big on evidence-based practice and getting continuing education units. So I would recommend to anyone, if they don't have experience in that area, to go back to reading, to taking a course, and reaching out to mentors that feel like they have a specialty in that area. And by way of that, then you begin to support clients with the things that they're experiencing. You make a great point about how clients are mislabeled. And so it's important to look at a well-rounded picture of the clients and do ethnographic interviewing. Make sure you get a good case history of the clients before you start to just evaluate them, diagnose them, and treat them. And so, more so than anything, if we had a client that fell on the playground, I would recommend for someone that did not have experience in that area to do continuing education units, to speak to mentors, research, and then actively serve to the client to the best of their ability.
Wonderful, wonderful plan. Now, some of our listeners are not within the field, so could you please explain what ethnographic is?
Yes, ethnographic interviewing are basically open-ended interview questions that we ask to our clients or caregivers or teachers or those that's involved in the client's life. And then you have grand tour questions, which are more of the larger questions. And then you have mini tour questions, the smaller questions. But ethnographic interviewing allows for you to ask questions that are non-judgmental. You stay away from more of the yes, no's and things that will allow you to get a lot of information.
Okay. Well, 12 school contracts, that is a lot. um, I would want to talk, we can talk about this offline, but I'm interested in taking my knowledge and helping school-based SLPs just build that confidence. And when I went to San Antonio last month, last month. The a lot of the SLPs that I was working with were school based, and then during my course, they were saying like, oh, like these are things that we can apply now and today. And so I'm always interested in talking to the school based SLPs because I want to know like what you all need. How you would find the information or even know that there's a gap to close. And so, talking with my school based SLPs and school based contract holders, I think is going to help me with that. So I definitely want to chat with you more about that. Any
One
plans for
idea,
me?
yes, one idea that I have is sending out a one pager or having this graphic where you share ethnographic interviewing questions for people that may not include case history questions that would help them to determine or see if someone has had a brain injury or any type of concussion. And so giving people the language that they need that's branded by way of you. So what do you need to know? What type of questions do you need to ask?
Perfect. And I love how we just full circled real quickly that whole ethnographic question thing. Like you defined it and now we get to use it. Okay, I like
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so in working with the population that I do, a lot of times I can hear experiences where people feel like they're not seen, like they're not heard. Um, the brain injury is an invisible injury. And so having somebody to show up or having somebody who is aware or knowledgeable about their condition can really be like a breath of fresh air when you've been being bounced around to these different providers who don't believe you or don't identify, and they're just dismissing you and either kicking the can down the road or not even referring you out to the appropriate person. And so I think about how that experience can translate as being a minority in our field. And
Mhm.
so I would like to know your experience on the brain side, mental health side of what that is like for you, or what your experience has been like in our field, because you are a trifecta, much more than that, but you are a Black gay male. And I want to know like what your experience has been in this space.
Ooh, the question was so robust. If we had to narrow it down, I want to figure out the best way to take it. It seems like it's more about how to take care of your mental health when you have a lot going on. Would that
When
be?
when you have a lot going on, and when you may not be seen in the way that you need to be seen, because I know you do a lot of work in the mentorship space, and that's got to be fantastic for the people that you mentor. So I'm bringing it all the way back around to how have you navigated our field, which is majority white, um, and navigated spaces or experiences where you may not have felt seen or valued.
Very good. The first two things that come to my mind is that I remain authentically myself. The best way to be is to be yourself. And so I don't try to show up as anyone else any day of the week. The second piece is the therapist needs a therapist. So I take care of myself by way of having a therapist, someone that I can talk to, someone that I can release and share and talk about my lived experiences. Because, of course, like most people, I've experienced trauma and division and divisiveness throughout my life. And you have to release that. And I don't hold on to it. So the things that I've experienced, the trauma that I've faced, I have eliminated that from my life. And it's helped me to be the best version of myself.
Wonderful. And then could you talk about your experience with mentorship and how important that is?
Oh, absolutely. So I have a few mentors that I love and care about deeply. They have become my chosen family. They started off being my mentors in grad school and they've been locked in ever since. Mentorship is extremely important, super valuable. You need it. You need to have someone that is smarter than you, someone that is wiser, someone that can pour back into you. And then you have to then do that in return. You have to pour back into others. Super
So,
important.
yes, 1,000%. I want to hear about your experience pouring into others.
Yes, well, I actually have a business entrepreneur academy where I support business owners with expanding and scaling and starting their businesses. I also have something called dynamic coaching. I've even supported a church team with learning how to communicate and actively work together. So I have these various coaching programs to where people, individuals, and or businesses reach out to me and say, "Hey, we need support with systems, processes, service level agreements, contracts, building communication, fostering relationships with our team members, etc." But then also my friends, they reach out to me to be a sounding board and to be a listening ear. And I've learned more than anything that sometimes people don't want advice, they just want to be heard. They just want someone whose shoulder they can lean on as they shed their tears. And so we have to think about sometimes taking a step back to just be present in the moment and figure out what is it that people need at the time when they're asking for support.
Absolutely. And also that you can use your circle of colleagues to help, either help with the mentoring or use that as a form of mentorship for yourself. And what I mean by that is I came out to Made for More, but I said I was there as a volunteer. And so I am in this big transition from private practice into academia. And so I was thinking like I'm showing up because I love Ebony and I want to support, and I'm here for it. But the the impact that experience had for me to be around people like you, and to be around people like Ebony and Barbara and Jesse and Quintina. There were so many people that poured into me and didn't even know that they poured into me. And that kind of helped in a sense where it's like that mentorship energy where it's I'm not jealous of you. I'm not trying to gatekeep you. I don't want anything from you. I want something for you. And I think that that kind of experience is vital for mentorship as well, which, I feel like you can also help to usher and guide people that you mentor into these kinds of spaces so they can be poured into like that. What, can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I think sometimes we're in spaces to where people don't know that they're being poured into or that they are pouring into someone else, because sometimes people are giving you exactly what you need. For example, there are hundreds of thousands of people listening to your podcast right now, amen. And by way of that, they're being poured into. They are receiving just what they need today. There's something that's being said that they're like, wow, I needed to hear that. And then they do something with that information. And so being in the space, being in the room, Made for More is a great opportunity for people that want to go into business, because it allows you to be around people that are either doing the work or that want to do the work. You need a business bestie. You need people that are on the same path as you. My dad used to always say, birds of a feather flock together. So if you want to be a bird that is flying in private practice, fly with those birds, do those things. And so, yeah, I think it's very important to build community and build space and push each other along.
Absolutely. And, yin and yang, opposite end of the spectrum. What can you, I want you to talk about the gatekeeping in our field, um, with the mindset of, because it was so the opposite of Made for More, but that the other end of the spectrum where people are like, well, this is mine. Because, you hear things like scale practice and all of the wonderful things that you're doing to pour into the community. Someone could easily say, I've thought about scaling too, and that's my thing. But you don't come at it from that perspective, and the people you surround yourself don't come at it from that perspective. So, what would you say to people, or could you speak to um, modifying that mindset? How do you get to the mindset of I want you to win, I'm not trying to gatekeep?
Absolutely. I think you said it best. A lot of times we're our own gatekeepers. So it's not that someone else is gatekeeping. We're gatekeeping ourselves. We're saying, oh, that person won't be able to support me, or that person won't want to help me, or oh, that person, blah, blah, blah. We want to place blame and point the finger a lot of times. We need to look at ourselves. There's enough business out here for everyone. I love to help other people get a school contract or help to grow their businesses. I even have contractors within my team that even reach out to me to say, hey, how can I do this same sort of thing? There's enough out there for everyone. Don't be your own gatekeeper. Don't be your own roadblock. Make a vision, make it plain, ask questions. For example, within Embosler, there is someone that was an SLPA that had got involved in the association. She was afraid to think that she couldn't be involved because she was an SLPA. And I ended up giving her an opportunity through the convention. She became a chair of one of our convention committees, and it was a stellar success. And I recommend that people just put their face and name out there, chase opportunities, go after them, and don't be their own gatekeeper or roadblock.
Okay, this is why I love this podcast, because I did not see that perspective and I love it. You could be your own gatekeeper,
Absolutely.
which is very true because that can come with imposter syndrome. And there's a lot of, I call it having a conversation with someone without the other person, where it's like you're counting yourself out or saying they won't want to do this, or they'll turn me down. Or and even when people, I don't know if you've had this, where people will come up to you in our spaces, whether it's Made for More, in Basel, Asha, state conference, what have you, and they'll say, I didn't know if I could come up and speak to you. I didn't know if I could say anything.
Correct. Which is
I'm
why I always show myself to be a very friendly, bubbly, energetic, all the things that I am, but I also make myself available to people. And I think it's important to humanize the experience that we have and to not get too big headed, because all those things will be gone tomorrow.
1,000%. But with as brilliant a businessman as you are, I highly doubt that for you. But okay, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up before we get to the candid conversation. But I would like to know what advice you would have for someone who is interested in pursuing speech therapy.
Do it. Our field needs more African Americans. We need more males. And so if you are listening, you are an African American and or male, please choose this field. If you want to give back, if you want to support those with disabilities, either kids or adults, you want to practice in various settings, hospitals, nursing homes, schools, clinics, daycares, you name it, you can have it. If you want to make great money, you can choose private practice. You can choose to work in the schools. You can choose to do whatever you want to do. in our field. You can specialize in various topics. You can do research. It's a great field to be in. I highly recommend it. And if you ever need someone to talk to help guide you through the process, I'm always here for you.
The man. It's a very dynamic field, listeners.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Lastly, on that topic, I want to know for those who may be a Black male who's in the field, how would you recommend the outreach? Because I will go into high schools and do like career days, and there are outreach things that can be done if someone is wanting to, branch outside of their little, brother or their little cousin who's interested. How can they reach more people?
They can set up a professional career fair on Zoom and invite friends with kids and say, hey, I want to talk to them about these different professions. So through my nonprofit Dynamic Cares, I've had a speed dating for careers where have gotten on, young professionals from college, high school, middle school. They've gotten on, they've learned about these various professions. I think it's best that we expose kids when they're young. So not just high school, but even middle school, kids are starting to form their thoughts in regards to what they want to be when they get older. And exposure is so important for our youth and even for college students. And so outside of, yes, doing those career fairs, maybe doing back to school bashes to where you set up a table and you're sharing with families and kids about resources and what a speech pathologist is, and playing games with them and showing them the types of activities that they would do if they were in therapy, for example. So just bringing a lot of awareness to the field and humanizing that experience of what is a speech pathologist.
Wonderful. Gems dropped as usual, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting ready to do the candid questionnaire, but before we do that, could you please tell listeners how they can find you if they wanted to reach out, or in anything that you have going on that you want to promote?
Absolutely. Well, if anyone is in need of business coaching, I have the Dynamic Coaching as well as the Business Entrepreneur Academy, where you can find that information at welovedynamictherapy.com. All of my websites are Dynamic Therapy, Dynamic Experiences, Dynamic Cares. I have one more business, Dynamic Properties, but we don't have a website. But nevertheless, all the things dynamic. You can also just type in Darius Thomas. I'm very easy to find. My number is on the World Wide Web. You can easily get in touch with me. I love LinkedIn. I'm always posting. So you can also find Darius Thomas on LinkedIn. Reach out.
Okay. Okay, there you have it. And I always like to say professionally slide into the DMs. He
Yes,
is very approachable and very kind, ladies and gentlemen. So if you do have questions, don't be shy.
absolutely.
Hey everyone, Dr. Kelly here, founder of Brain Talk Foundation, and I need your help. Every donation helps us raise awareness about brain health and concussions, especially in underserved communities. We're going into schools, talking to students, athletes, parents, coaches, educators, and speech language pathologists, making brain health education accessible and impactful. Brain Talk Foundation is a 501c3, so every donation is tax deductible and every single dollar makes a difference. Support this mission. Visit braintalkfoundation.org and donate today. Together, we're saving brains and changing lives. All right. So, candid questionnaire time. Yes. Okay. First up, what's one word your friends would use to describe you?
Dynamic.
Why did I think of that? But it's so true. It's
Yes,
so true. And listeners, you know this to be true. Listen to all the things that he just told us about that he does and slid in the dynamic properties at the end. He's
absolutely.
also into real estate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I completely concur. Dynamic, 1000%. Okay, number two. If you could instantly master any sport or physical skill, what would it be and why?
Baseball. It's a high paying sport and I love it.
High paying. Yes, it is. I think the MLB is the only one that doesn't have like a cap to salary.
Ooh, that sounds amazing. I love baseball. I wasn't the best at it, so I ended up having to retire that sport. I now play kickball, but it's not high paying. So here I am.
Not as high paying. Maybe like if you get a good game, hot dog with
Okay.
relish.
Okay.
That's the payment.
Baseball would be great. It's so relaxing. Also golf, but it's a little too boring. I like to play golf, but baseball would be it.
As a golfer, not boring. You just got to
It's
get back out. Well, when I
it's
come down to Atlanta,
therapeutic.
we got to get a game in.
Yes, it's so therapeutic. I actually love golf, but I wouldn't want to play professionally for a sport.
No, but you could just be a caddy and still get paid. Caddies make a lot of money.
I wouldn't mind.
Yes. Right? Work smarter, not harder. But see, ladies and gentlemen, dynamic entrepreneur brain, business brain mindset. He went for the sport that's really high paying.
That's right.
I like the way you think. Okay, number three. What's one activity or hobby you find most relaxing or beneficial for your brain?
I'm going to say kickball. It's relaxing because I'm out there on the field. I play outfield. I'm waiting for the ball to come at some point. I eat my sunflower seeds. I catch it. I throw it in. It's just so mindless for me. I'm really good at the sport. I've been playing for 10 years, and it's so relaxing and fun. Although I get to also burn calories.
Are you like super duper competitive?
Absolutely.
Are you?
Yes.
I
And
could not say it again.
my team is called the Untouchables, and we're very untouchable.
Okay. Did you come up with that name?
I did. I've had the team for 10 years.
Something told me you have a knack for like names, alliteration. Because even when you were like back to school bash, I'm like, I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, I would not think super competitive just because you're saying it's relaxing. And the fact that you have a whole snack in the outfit, you're eating sunflower seeds.
Absolutely. I'm out there chilling as I wait for that ball to be kicked. Now catch it, throw it in.
Oh my gosh. Well, I feel like there's less pressure with kickball than there is with baseball. But I'm just thinking that for concussion purposes.
Yes, you shouldn't get a concussion from kickball
But you
other
could.
if you run into someone. So I have had a season to where two of my teammates ran into each other. They both were saying, I got it, and either of them stopped. And one person was taller and ran into the other person and got a gash in his head.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so he's going for life with stitches.
Wow.
So
Well, I'm guessing he left the game
yeah, oh
after.
yes, they both had to go to the hospital, and we
Oh
won
my.
the game that day, so we won for them.
Yes, yes. Let's talk about the important part, ladies and gentlemen.
And they're
Okay.
okay today.
Injuries and still untouchable. Okay, that
That's
is
right.
impressive.
Thank
That
you.
is impressive.
Thank you.
But that makes me that opens up my thought process because I'm like kickball leagues. That could be something to also raise awareness about.
Absolutely. I
Because
love
if you get hit hard enough with a kickball, you can still, get injured.
I don't know if the kickball is going to hit you that hard, but
It
potentially,
could.
yeah, for sure.
I think back to my kickball and dodgeball days, and I can hear that like tink, like I can I can hear it
It
when
hits
it's
you hard
getting
enough.
kicked.
Sure.
Okay. Do you kick with your left leg or right leg?
Right leg.
Okay. All right. So, what's the equivalent to like knocking it out of the park with dodgeball? Is that possible?
Well, knocking out of the park in kickball is a home run.
Kickball.
You're just kicking so far that they're chasing the ball and everyone has made it home. It's similar to
Okay.
baseball, just
Okay.
kicking the ball.
Is the ball red?
Yes.
Okay. Got my gym flashback. Mm. Some kids are mean though. They were like trying to take you out with that ball. It's probably why I can still hear the tink. Core memory. Okay. What's the weirdest or most unexpected item in your bag or car right now?
I am so OCD and organized that literally I have cologne, floss, hand sanitizer, lotion, but it's all inside of a red Gucci bag that's in the middle of my center console. So everything is like all organized in a bag. So I have two bags in the middle of my center console with all of like basically toiletries type things. And then I have this cordless charger. So all my chargers in the other bag. So my electronics in one slash charging ports, and then all my miscellaneous items in another. I don't like things just lingering and floating all around. Mhm.
Oh my gosh, I'm a fellow OCDer and that sounds spectacular. I
So,
call those kinds of things like CVS because you
mhm.
have like all the accoutrements, things that you need, floss, cologne,
Yes.
like I'll keep like wispies. So you can
Yes.
like brush your teeth, hand sanitizer, stuff for the hair. Like, yes, I love it. And it's in the center console, so convenient and close.
I grab that bag. I'm able to pull out what I need. I put the bag back. So fun fact, I use Gucci is my favorite brand, but I use their like shoe holders as like little tote bags.
Ooh,
Hmm.
smart.
Yeah, it's a great way to like
Okay.
reusable.
Yes, smart. Repurpose it. And
Yeah,
I'm totally in alignment with that because everything has a place.
for sure.
Yes. And I can see by your beautifully aesthetically pleasing background that we have the OCD going on. I love the lines. That kind of stuff makes me so happy. Okay.
Me too. Me too.
Last question. What's your go-to guilty pleasure TV show, movie, or song?
Dang, I thought you were going to ask about food because I was going to say hot fries. I love Chester's. But nevertheless, guilty pleasure. Ooh, reality TV. Real Housewives of Potomac, Real Housewives of Atlanta, Married to Medicine on a Sunday. I can just sit down and watch that mindless TV. But then once I feel like it's taking away my brain cells, I have to go to The Shy. I love The Shy so much.
Oh my gosh, we need to like talk about these shows. Okay, I'm definitely a Potomac girly. I love The Shy. Have you been following from the beginning, The
Yes.
Shy?
And I've watched the full season. I won't tell anybody what happened, but I love The Shy, and I'm so sad that it's over.
I know. I know. Lena, hook us up. Give us
Yes.
something else, something great. Okay, so real quick, like what are your thoughts on Karen Potomac?
Karen Huger, the Grand Dame
Yes, the Grand Dame. Oh no, she relinquished that title. She said
audition.
she's coming back as Karen.
Okay, yes. Yes,
You
Karen.
don't look like you're really buying that.
Yeah, I don't. But I also feel bad for her. And I realize that we all make decisions and there are consequences to the decisions that we make. And I hope that she continues to do the great work to be a better version of herself. I think sometimes we can get caught up in reality TV and we're trying to impress others. And my pastor always says, I want to press upon. I'm not here to impress you, I want to press upon you. But nevertheless, I think it's time for her to do some self work to think about not showing up for others, but showing up for herself.
I like that. Yeah, I think about her and I think about Ray. Like, what is he up to? Is he doing okay? Because
Ray is on a golf course living a life and just excited not to be yelled at around or told what to do and when to do it.
Ray is enjoying and waiting for his wife's return, I feel. Okay, last question about reality TV. What are your thoughts on Monique? Because she's supposed to be coming back.
She's a real one. I'm happy that she's coming back. Love Monique, love her energy, love her vibe, love how authentic she is. I heard that she won another TV show that people didn't really like her much on, but I love her on Housewives of Potomac. So I think she's going to add great value to that show. And I'm sad that she even had to leave.
Me too. I think that she, over all things considered, I think that she handled herself pretty well, all things considered. Because, I mean, she was getting baited, in my opinion.
Yes,
But
but we should not put our hands on people. Violence is not a great thing. And so we have to learn how to control ourselves and our feelings.
1000%, 1000%. But that's what, great TV, drama, all the things. But with the whole brain cells thing. So I like to say I'm watching like mindless dribble.
Mm,
So, like, instead of me like analyzing and okay, you've had a stroke and what areas of your brain are affected, tell me about your day, like going through all of that, then educating their child or their spouse, the caregiver, like that can be a lot when you're doing that all day and then having to think about it and chart it. So, I like where you can just turn on something and it's like I don't have to analyze. There's somebody who's upset she wasn't invited to a dinner party and that's enough for me to relax my mind right now. So
sure.
I'm with you on the reality TV, but thank you so much. You have been a very dynamic guest.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed myself. I appreciate it. I hope that your listeners get something out of this. I know that you're going to continue to do the great work.
Thank you very much. Well, I look forward to seeing you hopefully before in Basel 2026. I'll see you at Asha. You'll be at Asha, won't you?
Absolutely. I can't wait. I haven't been to Ashland in a few years, so I will be there.
Okay. Perfect. Well, I will definitely see you then. Hopefully, we get to spend a little time together. But thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to Candid Conversations with Dr. Kelly. I hope today's discussion left you inspired, informed, and ready to take on your next challenge with a clearer mind. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, keep striving for a healthier mind and a happier life. I'm Dr. Kelly, and this has been another Candid Conversation.